Yeah, look, the Democratic Party's got a problem because they've basically taken a bunch of social media influencers that are really loud and know how to get like TikTok views and said, be a congressperson. We'll bring you up here. And they don't legislate. She's not representing the people of her district.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at ZD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. With the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head back on over to Washington, D.C. Why is that? Because the crash out continues. Yes, the crashing out of Jasmine Crockett continues, and she is swatting away allegations of being a trash boss, like swatting at flies at a picnic. The way in which this woman's fall from grace is occurring is truly something astonishing, because this isn't similar as I once thought it was to what we saw happen to Eric Adams, where the fall from grace was very much so being facilitated by the DNC press that's trying to push him out of the way, right? It appeared to be that way at first. I believe it was with the Atlantic article that came out, which didn't do Jasmine Crockett any favors. But now as time continues on, the more information that comes out on Crockett, the more we're seeing that this isn't a push from the DNC to get rid of her. And these are not opinion pieces being written by conservative outlets to make Jasmine Crockett look bad. The crash out and the fall from grace is actually very organic. It's her own staffers, aides, senior aides, and Washington insiders that are on the left who are coming out against Jasmine Crockett and exposing her, to which now she is constantly in a state of damage control. Okay. So now, for those of you who don't know, recently staffers of her came out to New York Post and spilled the beans on how horrible of a boss that she is. And of course, she gives the typical response of, oh, well, it's just because I'm a black woman and everybody's scared of a strong black woman. But we're going to unpack that, and I'm going to prove to you how much of a lie that is, and that it has nothing to do with her being a black woman. So follow along with me as we go through a couple of clips, and then we're going to dive into the actual article as well. But first, let's start here with this news clip from Fox News and unpack a little bit of what's being discussed here.
Texas is also getting, Democrats in Texas are getting a little bit of attention because of their rising Democrat star, Jasmine Crockett. Turns out she may be a toxic boss, according to the New York Post. Here's the headline. Trump critic Rep. Jasmine Crockett is a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers. Aides say all diva, no wow. Inside, you see a quote, former aide to Crockett, saying that they don't like their boss. She is lying around her apartment, won't come into the office, and is just really indifferent to staff and will scream at them. She is never in the office and is very disengaged. She does her BS that goes viral and then freaks out over the most random things.
I mean, who's surprised? I mean, this is my favorite Congresswoman. I enjoy her because I think if you promote someone like this, then you can just kiss the national election goodbye. And honestly, I don't think this was like a secret. She kind of acts this way publicly as well, but she's getting the Amy Klobuchar treatment. Abuses the staff. Kamala Harris, we heard behind the scenes, abuses her staff, doesn't really do the work, trying to look for viral moments, and she's really not effective as well. What piece of legislation can you say she has been successful on? What piece of legislation has she changed the country on?
Well, unfortunately, fame is a very powerful drug, and clearly it has gotten to her head. I interviewed Congressman Chairman James Comer, and I asked him about her because she's on the Oversight Committee. And he said when she first came to Congress, totally different person than she is today. It's like night and day. And then we saw that in do you remember the Atlantic profile piece? Mm-hmm. She said she was shutting down the profile and revoking all permissions like you have the authority to do so. Because the Atlantic reporter had the audacity to ask other Democrats.
And that's my point that I was making. It's other Democrats that have spoken out against her. It's her own staffers now that are coming out against her. It's those that are on her side of the political spectrum that are on their own giving up information about how horrible of a person this woman actually is, and that she's only concerned with being a social media influencer more than actually being an effective politician. Trust me when I tell you, if she does manage to get voted out and replaced by Sheldon Daniels, trust and believe her ignorance does have a place on MSNBC. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up on The View as well. So I don't think we'd be getting rid of her once and for all, the same way those of the likes of a Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush have kind of just disappeared into nothingness. She'll still be around because she draws a crowd because she's ignorant. But as more information continues to come out about her, I feel as if we may be approaching a moment in time in which we might see the end of Jasmine Crockett. Now, I want to get into this next clip here where Jasmine Crockett is doing serious damage control. And as we all know, she's going to go into the whole black woman thing and racism thing, but I can't wait for her to do that so that I can unpack how much of a lie that actually is when we look into who the staffers actually are that are exposing Jasmine Crockett. So let's get into this next concerning Jasmine Crockett playing defense now at this point with her back against the wall.
Are you a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers?
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that
I'm sorry to interrupt so early. That laugh was so fake. That laugh is so fake. That's the laugh of, man, it looks like it's over. That's that nervous laugh. Like, I am getting hit right now, and I really don't know how to respond to this and come out on the other end of this victoriously. Let's listen to that laugh again. It was just so forced and so fake.
Are you a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers?
Oh my goodness. Listen, I know that I have arrived, honey. That is the way that I see this. Because as Beyoncé says, if they're not talking about you, then obviously you must not be doing anything. You know what? This is just more slander, more nonsense, more lies. And honestly, I don't think that the New York Post would probably be the first ones to be able to figure out if I was a boss from hell. You and I were joking before we got on camera about all of the scrutiny that comes with being not only woman, but being young and being a Black woman. There's a lot of scrutiny that comes my way, and it comes my way from all different angles. But when people start talking about you, that's when you know that you are obviously getting under their skin. So I am not going to give up. There's a song that I like to quote every once in a while. It says, "Your hate is my motivation." So keep hating. All it does is motivate me to continue to do what I do, which is to be loud and proud on behalf of the American people.
Well, you are loud, but you definitely somewhat toned it down a bit. If you noticed, and we've talked about this over and over again, her little, kind of makeover, she's, really scaled back the whole, honey child, sister girl, ghetto act with the short hair, short nails, and a little bit the somewhat softer tone of voice. She's scaled that back quite a bit, but not to lose focus. Everybody's hating on the Black woman, right? They're hating on a Black woman. Well, does it count if those that are allegedly hating on you, gay, lesbian, and other Black women themselves? Let's unpack this. Because you have to understand, she's trying to pull the whole race card right now, right? You hate me because I'm Black. But your staff consists of Black people and LGBTQ men and women. That's your staff. Your staff apparently is racist, if I let you tell it right now, but you hired them. Once again, remember, this is not a New York Post opinion piece. This is an article that's fueled by her staffers that she hired who are coming out against her. Just like in the Atlantic, that piece was fueled by her colleagues that spoke about her and gave their honest opinions to the degree that they weren't scared to do so. These are your folks that are doing this, not MAGA channels and conservative news outlets. That's not what's happening. Channels like GD, I'm not just putting out nonsense. These are direct quotes that we're going to get into from your people, right? And not only your people, to be specific, other minorities, underserved communities, people of color, and from marginalized groups. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. This is the article here that everyone's been citing and referencing. Trump critic Representative Jasmine Crockett is a no-show boss from hell who terrorizes staffers, aides say, all diva and no wow. When that makes a lot of sense because she's only concerned with being a social media influencer. Allow me a moment to scroll down. We might not go through the whole article. We might just focus on this main point here and keep it moving. So give me just a moment. Okay, so let's start here, right? We're going to start here. Crockett, a former criminal defense attorney and Texas state legislator, burst into the national spotlight in May of 2024 when she attacked Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene at a committee hearing for having bleach blonde, bad-built butch body after Greene ridiculed her fake eyelashes. While Crockett tried to fundraise off the Real Housewives style viral clash, the Congresswoman's staff, which included multiple gay and lesbian members, were left with mixed feelings. This is very interesting. Very, very interesting. The article continues to read, complaints poured in from lesbians who objected to Crockett's derogatory use of the term butch to attack Greene, which even left some aides uneasy. They went woke on the woke. The woke staff of Jasmine Crockett said, hey, you can't use the word butch. That's offensive. But how did Jasmine Crockett reply? Here's what she stated. She told her gay staff members, that's not offensive. You're stupid if you think so. Are any of you shocked that she responded like that? The woman who's quick to pull out the you all hating on me and you don't like me because I'm a black woman and anything and everything that you say against me is offensive, now all of a sudden is telling members of the LGBTQ community what they should and shouldn't be offended by. And if they have the audacity to be offended by her, they're stupid. And mind you, she's the one who hired these people that she's now berating and calling stupid. Unbelievable. Well, not really. It's actually very believable. Her personality screams this out like crazy. But that was what she stated. You are stupid if you think so. A former aide recounted to the Post, right? A former aide stated this. Now get this. A number of staff have become fed up with their treatment, while others have either been fired or left on their own, a distinction often difficult to discern in Washington. Some former aides cited fear of retribution when declining to participate in this story. And I quote, she thinks she's her own best advisor. She knows best and has this toxic staff environment, a source said. She gets rid of press people because she's like, I do all of the press stuff. On one occasion, described to the Post, Crockett reduced a legislative aide to tears, bellowing, do you really want to be here? And if not, you can leave. Now, here's where the fake pro-blackness that comes from Jasmine Crockett collapses. Another aide, a young black woman, was fired abruptly and confined to a colleague. I don't want to hear Jasmine Crockett talk about being a black woman when she just fired one for no reason. Are any of you actually surprised by this information that's coming out? You're all afraid of the black woman. You're afraid of me because the black woman is God. That's why Trump hates me. He calls me low IQ, but the black woman is the supreme being. If you let her tell it. Meanwhile, she's berating other black women in her staff, firing them for no reason while pumping her chest, pretending to be pro-black. on top of letting her LGBTQ staffers know when it comes to her homophobic rhetoric, they're the ones that's stupid. Don't you dare disagree with Jasmine Crockett. If she wants to be homophobic, she can do what she wants to do, okay? And if you don't like it, as stated, you can get out of here. Amazing, truly amazing. Capitol Hill jobs often are filled based on personal connections, and openings are circulated among friend groups. This is very important to understand. A source told the Post that a job listing for Crockett's team recently was shared among a large group of Black Democratic women, but nobody expressed interest in the gig. That speaks volumes on so many levels. On so many levels. Because it's not just the fact that other Black women seem to have no desire to want to work with her, because they know and see how fake that she is. And we can confirm that it's true due to the fact that, as it states here, Capitol Hill jobs are often filled based on personal connections. Openings are circulated among friend groups. It's a tight-knit circle that exists in Washington concerning these friend groups, and just simply being in the know in order to get these positions. You can't just apply for this on Indeed.com or Monster.com. So everybody knows everybody, right? So when these stories and this stuff is coming out about her, you better believe that it's the truth, because this stuff isn't just coming from out of nowhere. It's not conservative propaganda. It's from those on the left in DC that are in the know concerning these things. And they're the ones, her people in her party and her colleagues and her aides and her staffers, are blowing the whistle on Jasmine Crockett on their own. Ladies and gentlemen, we might be witnessing the end of Jasmine Crockett. Christmas came early. Christmas came early, at least so far. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and celebrate early. We're not going to do that because we don't want to look foolish in case she gets reelected, right? But I will say Christmas definitely came early with all of this information that's coming forth against Jasmine Crockett. And it's just been very fun watching her do endless damage control. And with all that being said, that does it for today's news. So please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And please do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.